Hey everyone, it's Alaina with the Hancock Group. I'm here today at the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum right here in Carver County. Now, the Landscape Arboretum has a ton of stuff to offer. It's 1,200 acres, parks, trails, flowers, trees. It's everything you can possibly imagine. Let's go check it out. Sara, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for coming to the Arboretum.
Yes, well, it's absolutely beautiful this time of year and pretty much any time of year. For starters, tell us just a little bit about what is the Arboretum?
Oh, wow. The Arboretum is part of the University of Minnesota, and it's 1,200 acres in the Chanhassen area, and it's beautiful public garden space with blooming plants and cultivated plants like you'd find in your backyard. But then it's also a lot of large nature spaces with trails to hike, and actually in the winter we have 8 miles of cross-country ski trails, 8 miles of snowshoe trails, and winter lights is a big thing. It's a big event where we put up a bunch of lights and you get to wander the grounds. And instead of plants, we have light displays.
I have definitely had to sit in the line out on Highway 5 because of the light display.
Yes,
so you have hundreds of cars,
oh,
hundreds
it's so
of people
great.
that come in the winter.
And we are working on fixing the traffic problem long-term with a new entrance to the Arboretum.
I did see that.
You did see that?
I did see that coming. So if this is your first time visiting the Arboretum, what can you expect?
Well, the first thing is you do need to make a reservation or get tickets. It's the same thing.
Okay.
And that's where you either go online or you call our ticket phone number and you book ahead. And the reason is that spaces out the visitors. So we don't get those lines as much anymore. It started during the pandemic, but we're going to keep it because it allows us to have, okay, this many visitors at this time, and then there's enough parking, enough people in the restaurant, and you're not crowded when you're trying to explore.
Right. As far as different programs that people can do while they're here,
there's so much going on here, and it's all year long, but we have camps for kids. We have green bean family time on the weekends for families who just want to come and they might want to learn how to grow a vegetable garden or plant a seed. They can learn those things at the Learning Center. Cute. In addition to the Learning Center, we also have the Bee Center, which is up at the farm at the Arb, which is a little side trip you take off 3 Mile Drive. Okay. And you can be on a farm with like Honeycrisp apples growing on a trellis the way they're grown by farmers. And you can see beets growing in the ground. It's amazing in the summer. And there's also events. Okay. Events are a huge part of the Arboretum. So in addition to winter lights, in the wintertime with all the lights you can tour, we have art gallery exhibits, and we have May markets we just had where you can come shop amid the tulip. It's really incredible. So you go on our website and go under events and you'll see we have apple jam coming up in the fall.
Oh, that's perfect.
We have fall pumpkin displays. Fall is a huge time at the Arboretum.
I've heard wonderful things about all of the colors here in the fall. Every color on a tree you can imagine.
Well, yes, and we have a special prairie area also on 3 Mile Drive, and you're just with the wildflowers, and it's just, you can walk amongst them and they're this high, and it's just a great place to either be in solitude or bring the kids, because it is 1,200 acres, the Arboretum, and so that gives you enough room to really spread out.
And you mentioned 3 Mile Drive, and then I think there's also a 3 Mile hike. So what are those?
Yes, that's right. Both of those are accessible from near the visitor center. You don't have to go too far. You come in the main area and either park if you're going to do 3 Mile walk or drive on in if you're going to do 3 Mile drive. 3 Mile walk is like a more immersive experience, and it's not right next to the drive. It's its own pathway that hits all the highlights. It'll hit the rose garden, it'll hit the sculpture garden, which is another thing. We have a huge Harrison sculpture garden.
I didn't even know there was a sculpture garden.
There is. That's also on 3 Mile Drive. So like what we recommend when people first come is to take that 3 Mile Drive and get the lay of the land, like, wow, this place is big. Oh, I want to go see this. Get a map from the visitor center and say, oh, I want to see the hostas, or I want to see the roses, or the dahlias, or the prairie, and then kind of chart your course from there. Okay, and then go have lunch.
And speaking of lunch, you have a restaurant, but you can also picnic?
Yes, actually, you can picnic. We could sit down right here, as long as we don't damage any plants or leave any garbage. We could sit down right here and have a picnic. These are azaleas.
So they're beautiful.
Yes, so these are our spring, this is a spring bloomer, and we're known for it at the Arboretum. Yes, but we could picnic amongst the azaleas or under the crab apples. That's really popular, crab apple blossoms.
Yes, and those all just finished, unfortunately.
They did.
Yeah,
they're so short-lived, but such an event. And that's what we try to bring people out so they don't miss those experiences, because we have such large quantities.
Yeah.
You can sit under, we have 200 crab apples.
200.
We do.
Oh my gosh.
And that's a
pretty
whole
cool.
collection out on a 3-mile drive. So yes, you could picnic anywhere you like, and there's great little spots for kids to run, and we have information on our website about your best bets for kids.
Okay, that's really good to know for future.
Yes.
Future reference.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And then you also mentioned there's a restaurant.
Yes, it's called the Eatery at the Arboretum, and it's a brand new chef, and so we're really excited about that. And now there's a hot bar, sandwiches and desserts, kid-friendly food.
Wow.
We're really working on building out the menu, and so that's really exciting because I think people, once you're out here, it takes a lot of time.
Right.
By the time you're here a couple hours, you either want to eat before or after, and I love the cafe. I really enjoy it.
So I see the azaleas are in bloom now. Every week there has to be something different. So how do I know what's going to be in bloom when and where? And
Yes, so we have a new page called Garden Highlights, and it used to be called What's in Bloom, but now it's just we highlight anything. We highlight cool leaves. Most people want to know about the color though.
Yep.
So you go to our website under Plan Your Visit, Garden Highlights, and it'll tell you what's next. And so moving into summer, we're going to be seeing things like roses, but there's different kinds of roses. So that website will tell you, oh my gosh, the shrub roses are in bloom, and we'll show pictures of what you're going to see. Like the pictures are not representative. They're live photos of what we photographed it in bloom, and we'll show you what it's going to look like.
perfect.
Yeah, so you can get an idea. So these are on the website right now.
Okay.
And then when roses bloom, we'll have those featured. And on our homepage, we try to put a real picture on the homepage, no stock art, no representative photo. We try to be really true to what's blooming.
Oh, there's a little bee.
Little
pollinator.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we're really big on the pollinators here. Yes, the pollinator garden at the Bee Center.
Yes.
That's where you can kind of learn about. Minnesota has something like more than 400 native bees, which
Really?
I would have thought there were 2 or 3, with a bumblebee, a honeybee, maybe some other pollinator. But there's a lot to learn about pollinators. You can do that here too.
That is really cool. Save the bees.
Save the bees.
Sorry.
No, really, truly. We are not pesticide free at the
Okay.
Arboretum. But we have an integrated pest management specialist, and they are very careful and thoughtful about when you escalate to that level of needing a chemical, because we want to save the bees.
Got it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pulling weeds to fight that, but we're not pesticide free, but we're really thoughtful about it. We have entire staff members dedicated to how do we deal with buckthorn. We figure all that out in the most sustainable way we can.
Speaking of weed pulling, how many people make all this happen?
Well, we have more than 100 staff year-round,
Okay.
and we have about 200 in season when things are really actively going, and we have about 1,000 volunteers.
1,000.
Yes, they outnumber the full-time staff.
I mean, 1,000 volunteers. How can people get involved? What sort of different things can they do to get
Yes,
involved?
and there's lots of options. You go to our website, look under volunteering, and you can find options, because there's so much to be done. When we plant in the fall, we plant 40,000 tulips. Volunteers are a big part of that. They've got to be planted just so. You can imagine how much work it is, but we have staff that lead that, and then volunteers assist.
Wow, that's amazing. So someone can also learn how to plant while they volunteer?
I would think you would learn a lot volunteering here. And you learn a lot just being here, just looking around and going, well, I didn't know that existed. And just volunteering it's a really incredible experience, and we really appreciate that's someone really giving. That's a gift.
Yeah.
Volunteering is a real gift, so we appreciate that. So if you're interested, reach out.
What is your favorite time of year?
Gosh, that's a great question. My favorite time of year so far is spring, because it goes like this. You get these early spring bloomers, then you get the daffodils, then you get the tulips, then you get the crab apples, then you get the lilacs, and then you get the azaleas.
So it's just like boom, 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 boom,
It's just
boom.
incredible. Oh, and redbud. Redbud season just finished, but that is something to put on your calendar for May. That's a good treat. You have to see them to understand them. We're surrounded by them, but they're just green now. Like they're done.
They're done.
Yeah, they're done blooming. And
You would never even know.
The story of the Arboretum really is come when you can, but come as often as you can, because it is truly different. Every 10 days, it's different. And the Garden Highlights page also has an interactive map. You can go to that map and it'll say, okay, this is in bloom, and you can go, but where? And there's flowers to all the highlighted plants. So anything that we think is peaking or near peaking or in its glory, we mark it on that map with a little flower, and you can sort of walk around and scavenger hunt the plants. So if you wanted to see azaleas, they're all marked on the Garden Highlights map.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, they work really hard. We have a plant cartographer, and they work with us on helping visitors get to those cool plants. Because if you have 1,200 acres, you need a guide.
I would 100% be overwhelmed and lost.
And just ask someone, like if you see staff, we are so excited to tell you, oh, well, you got to go down here and have you seen this? And, you know, so
I feel like you have to love
if you
what
see
do.
someone in a vest, ask them because they will know, they'll have the inside scoop on what's really looking good, or our website.
How much does it cost to get in?
To get in, it's $15 for adults, and it's free for ages 15 and under. And so that's how I try to remember it, 15 and 15. And that means basically young children get in free every time, all the time. Yeah. And that makes it such a great family thing. Yes, the adults have to pay to get in. The other option we have is membership. Okay. And for a single person, that starts at $60. And so as a single person, you could make that back in 4 visits, kind of like the zoo or something like that. And it really makes sense to come back because the Arboretum, like I said, every 10 days, it looks totally different. You know, the tulips are gone, but in 2 days, it's gonna be annuals. And also follow us on Facebook and Instagram and you'll kind of see what's going on. Because we are constantly posting real time, oh my gosh, this is blooming, that's blooming. And that would be a great way to help you use your membership. Like, oh, when do I want to go out?
And the constant reminder that you have it.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Not like the gym membership that you just buy and then never use.
But this is like a gym in the sense that there's you put on a lot of miles.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, the 3-mile walk is stroller friendly.
Oh, good.
So that's a long walk.
Good to know.
Right? Yep, that's a long walk for kids, but there's a few bits with limestone. It's not perfect, but it is accessible for general use.
Perfect. Yeah. And then does the membership help get you access to like any of the events?
Oh, yes. You get better pricing on pretty much every event. You know, it's this price for non-members and this price for members. So you really do save money. It's kind of like the more you engage, the more benefit you get.
Wonderful.
Yeah, from the membership. We love for people to become members and make it part of their life because the goal is to make, you know, gardening and nature spaces open to everyone.
Yeah.
And we really enjoy having people from all over Minnesota come.
Yes, and I mean, you guys are 1,200 acres, which seems like a lot, and you feel like you should be like really far outside the cities, but you are literally like 30 minutes.
Oh, yes.
From Minneapolis.
Yes, yes. And this is it's not a traffic bottleneck generally. It's really easy to get out here, and we're making parking easier with time ticketing.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're trying to make it the best experience possible, but for people to become a member also supports us because the Arboretum is a nonprofit within the University of Minnesota. Okay. So we function like a nonprofit organization, and that really helps us grow and maintain everything. And so those members are really helpful. That sustains us.
Yes, definitely. And they want to see you kind of flourish over the next however many years.
Exactly. We're only about 50, 60 years old, which is really young for an Arboretum. And so, yeah, we're really excited to keep this going.
I heard a rumor that the Honeycrisp apple was born and bred here.
That is 100% correct, yes.
Okay.
The Arboretum is the home of the Honeycrisp.
The best apple.
The best apple, indisputable, but we're also working on other apples. So there's a huge research program at the Horticultural Research Center, which is just a little bit down the way from the Arboretum. It's part of the Arboretum. Okay. And that is where grapes, apples, apricots, all sorts of fruits and other azaleas,
flowers.
That is the research hub, and they're already working on like the next big apple. And the next big grape, and they're about to get names and get released. And I mean, if you think about the Honeycrisp, it's a worldwide crop. I mean, it is the most planted. I think it's the second most planted, apple in the world now, and that all came from right here, which I find amazing. But there are more varieties coming. If you've had Sweet Tango or First Kiss, those are Minnesota Arboretum bred apples. So that's an exciting thing. You can go to the farm at the Arb to see how those apples are grown. Okay. But the orchards are sort of surrounding this whole area.
That's absolutely fantastic. And you mentioned the farm at the Arb, and isn't there also like a apple house?
Oh yes. Okay. So it's not at the farm at the Arb, but just over by the Horticultural Research Center is our apple house, and that is absolutely huge in the fall. We sell apples of all kinds, including Minnesota grown Honeycrisp, Arboretum grown Honeycrisp, gourds, pumpkins, all that good fall stuff, and we're improving the apple house for this fall. So come see it. It's at Rolling Acres Road and Highway 5.
Highway 5. Got it. Thank you so much for having us, Sarah. Definitely be sure to check out the Arboretum sometime this summer or fall or winter or next spring, whenever. And for more information, where can people go?
arb.umn.edu.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Of course, and I'll be back hopefully this fall to do another video with you. So
fantastic. Thanks.
Great.